So I got this program to work. Oh, I think you're live.
Ah. You're amazing.
I think.
I think she might have done it.
I did it.
I love you.
There you go.
You're amazing. Okay. Here's your comeback.
Hi guys, can everybody hear us okay? If you're in there, go ahead and say yes in the comments. Yay, it's working. Hello.
Thank you, Kaylee. Okay, do we want to start with stories or what do we want to start with?
How about introducing you and your arts?
Okay. Do you want to turn this or hold that for me and tell me when I'm in the camera? I'm Tiffany, and I'm the artist of all the paintings. So what I specifically do is all the women that I paint are survivors of either domestic abuse or sexual violence. And when I take those paintings and I host art shows for nonprofits and safe houses where I donate a portion back to them. And so tonight, anything that's purchased either from my website or here at the show will be donated at 40% back to PeaceWorks. So, and Lori is here. You have to come and join us. And she is the director of PeaceWorks.
So I'm Lori with PeaceWorks. We are a domestic violence sexual assault organization and providing services in Park County and Mountain Jeffco since 1986.
Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and walk around the room and show you what we have here on site.
Here, let's do it this way so then you can go talk about it.
Oh, I'm going to go talk about each of them? Okay.
Yeah. That way it's not super shaky.
That's true. Okay, so on the table here, we just have some smaller pieces. I do small works just to kind of keep art affordable for anybody who wants to purchase anything. And these are all still based off of live models that have come to my studio. For example, this one here, it's an 8x8, and she is a transgender woman who was raped when she was a child. So that's kind of that. I'm not going to share every story, but I will share a lot of them. This big painting here behind me, this one is a 30x40, and this is part of some painting, or a group of women from England that are a survivor group, and they sent me a bunch of pictures of themselves to be painted for my project, which is kind of cool. There's a couple like this that are out there. I'm just going to kind of keep going. These two, this one with the flowers, this one is an older woman. She was 58, and she wanted to be a part of my project because she was in an abusive marriage for 37 years. Very young when she got married. So there's that. This one wanted to be a part of my project because she feels like all bodies are not as accepted after you have children and things like that. And that, saggy skin isn't anything to be ashamed of. This one is a line art one that I did of one of my friends who's a gymnast. I don't know what I would say. And then this is also another painting that is of that same survivor group. So there was I think there's 18 total women in those pictures they sent me. And so that's from that as well. I'm just gonna keep going. And then I have these ones over here. These are 16 by 20, these two are. So this one is just a woman who reached out to me and wanted to be a part of the project. She was molested as a child. And then I did these are my Woman in a Jar series. These ones are kind of supposed to be about when you take pieces of yourself that you don't like and you place them in jars and put lids on them, like you based on those things. And it's kind of a representation of that and what those might look like. And then I have a square one here. This one's a little bit of a newer one, kind of supposed to represent the chaoticness that healing can always bring in your life. This is the original piece. It is available. I don't have it here tonight because it doesn't fit in my truck. It is 5 feet by 4 feet. These are two sisters who were molested as children by their dad and his friends after their mother died. And they're from California. They reached out to me about 2 years ago to be a part of my project. And so this is just a print of them that I framed. This is available. It's in Denver for pickup if anyone wants that. And then I have this piece, once again, kind of goes with the chaoticness of healing. I'll grab these so you don't have to turn it too far. And then these ones, this one's a 16 by 20, and this one is a 12 by 16. And if you have any questions specifically about any of my pieces, you can chat with us in the chat there, or give us a call if you have our phone numbers. And then any of my other pieces at paintmenickel.com, which is very simple. So I think that is the description of most of the paintings here. And then we have Sabrina. Sorry. Sabrina is going to share her survivor story. So I will go ahead and let her take the floor for a minute.
Okay, well, thank you, Tiffany, for all your amazing artwork here and the work that you're doing. I feel like, it's everything, like you're talking about the chaotic process of healing, and it really is a process. It's not a one and done. It would be nice if we lived in that kind of world, but I am a survivor. For me, I was 17 years old the first time my boyfriend hit me. His mother witnessed it and begged me to go home. We never spoke about that event after that night, that relationship, and I definitely didn't talk to my mother or my girlfriends. I was ashamed, embarrassed, and started to internalize that, the reasons, the excuses that he said, and started to feel guilty and take it on as my own responsibility for that night. And it wasn't the only time that he was abusive, and that dysfunctional relationship led to me becoming a single mom at the age of 9. After that, I had a history of bad relationships, or not the best relationships. They weren't very long term, but I leaned into that familial pressure and the societal pressure to provide a nuclear family for myself, and ended up marrying a man that I had previously had a domestic violence charge against. So I wasn't working in the healing process during those relationships, and that marriage lasted for 5 years and brought in my son into the world, and a lot of drinking to numb the experience and not deal with what was happening. I did find the ability to get sober before I left him, and I knew I needed to do that in order to leave him and not lose my kids in that process. And it took 2 years after getting sober before I found the courage to finally leave him, and I walked out of a fully remodeled tri-level home because working on the outside and the exterior of things felt more comfortable than actually addressing what was happening inside. And I had a career. I was in human resources management. My coworkers, colleagues, neighbors, friends didn't know what was happening. It was a very isolated, even though I wasn't isolated in the fact that I had a job and, had connection outside the world, it's still very isolating, even if you're not locked behind that closed door. And that was one of those things that when I finally did get the courage to leave, I knew the timing was right. And thankfully, it went without incident, although at that time, that was when my family really voiced their concern for our safety. He was a gun owner, and concerned that, that could turn pretty tragic at some point, and thankfully it did not. But I kind of worked on myself and ended up attracting a partner who wasn't abusive, and that was a good thing, and an amazing partner who adopted my oldest daughter, and we had a daughter together as well, and are still together, nearing our 21st anniversary. But I still had the pattern of toxic relationships, power and control, what I would consider codependency in my life. And it wasn't in the bedroom, it was in the boardroom. And I ended up in a professional relationship with somebody who filed a lawsuit against me after I asked him to remove videos that promoted his work because he didn't pay me accurately, and I didn't want to continue promoting his work, and after learning some of the things about him. And that process with that lawsuit was extremely emotionally traumatizing. I recognized that here I was yet again in a relationship where I was being emotionally, financially abused, psychologically abused, and yet the physical aspect was gone, but it wasn't any full or detrimental of that intimate partner violence that I had the history of. And so I needed to look at the pattern, why I kept attracting this lesson, as I would call it, into my life. And that's what dove me into advocacy, which I'm very grateful for. I figured the best way to approach this was to heal others and heal myself. I didn't know there was services available. I didn't know there was advocates available when I was leaving these relationships in the past. And I wanted to give back. And I had actually reached out to PeaceWorks, this wonderful organization in my mountain community here in Conifer, and a few years earlier about volunteering. And I guess the time wasn't right because I didn't get a response back. But now that there was a new director and I put that email out, there was no going back because there was that immediate. And yes, we would love to have you. And I took that advocacy training and started volunteering on the crisis line and enjoyed that. I enjoyed what I was learning. I enjoyed helping others, but I didn't feel like I was getting enough action, and that could be the schedule that I had for the crisis line. And so when the opportunity presented itself for a part-time advocate at the shelter, the safe shelter here under PeaceWorks, I decided to apply and put my services into that regard. And that's one of the beautiful things about PeaceWorks is we do have this wonderful safe shelter that allows survivors of intimate partner domestic violence, as well as sexual assault and human trafficking, and their children, and also their pets, which makes us extremely unique. I believe we're like one of 60 in the nation that takes pets. And, you know, a lot of people will stay in those situations that are very low income housing doesn't exist. And so that keeps people trapped. You know, you have pets, that makes it even harder, or if you have children, there's all sorts of reasons why people stay. And so we can't judge why people stay. And that type of shaming of the victim keeps them in those toxic relationships long after they hope to leave. And so we just have to encourage them and bring community awareness. You know, when I was 17 years old, I wasn't aware that there could be resources available for me. And I love that we can go out and reach local schools, which is a little different right now, but to try to raise awareness with the teenage community of what a healthy relationship looks like versus an unhealthy relationship. Because they just need that knowledge, they need that awareness, and they need to know that there are people that can support them. And what I love about PeaceWorks is we're confidential, which means whatever you share with us stays with us. It doesn't go anywhere else. And so that helps survivors really feel confident in being able to reach out, knowing that their information is going to be safe and it's not going to go any further, because not everyone wants to file charges. And honestly, the legal system and the judicial system doesn't always work to support survivors. In fact, oftentimes they're re-victimized by the system. And so we offer that unique service that helps them to not become re-victimized, re-traumatized, gives them a safe place to land. And with PeaceWorks, one of the brilliant things that Lori, our executive director, has encouraged is we have created this wellness program. And I really feel like that sets us apart from a lot of the other shelters out there that are available. And first of all, we have the serene mountain setting. It's located along a river. And so that mountain therapy, that nature therapy, really helps people to ground and just catch their breath and find the strength to make a decision, their own decision of what their next step is. And, you know, she brings in body movement, Reiki, and I do some energy healing as well as block therapy. And we have another advocate who leads a grief support group, as well as a peer support group, and another former director who comes in and volunteers every week for an empowerment group. And so all of that's of course optional, but we really give people, we want to give them that short time that we're working with them, the tools and the resources they need to start to feel empowered and cultivate the resiliency they need to make those next steps and those next choices. And so I'm very honored to be a part of this organization and to support survivors that are like these women here who have gone through something very traumatic, and yet they can find that sliver of hope to start moving forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Sabrina.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of walk around the room and tell you some of the prices of some of these pieces in case you're interested in them. So smaller pieces, 8x8s, like these two, these are $80. This one is $100. It's an 8x10. This is a 9x12, and it's $140. And then also when you purchase these, I do send you an email if you want it with the individual stories of the paintings. This is a 30x40, and it is $1,000, and it's ready to be hung. So all of these are going to be varnished and ready for you to hang at your house. This one is 12 inches by 36 inches. Sorry, had to think. I didn't write it on the back. 12 by 36, and she is $500. And then this is 15 by 30, and she is, sorry, I write these on. I don't remember this one. She's 400. We'll just go with 400 because I can't remember right now. This one is a 24 by 36, and she is $600. This one, I think it's the same size. Let me double check though. Maybe. Yeah, 24 by 36 as well. $600. Any 16 by 20s. So these two, these ones are $275. Prints like this one that are framed, if you're wanting like this specific print, this is $120. And that's a 16 by 20 print in here with the frame. And so then they just kind of all of the paintings are done by size. So any size paintings that I have on my website or anything like that are all done, are all priced that way. And then the other thing is if you're wanting to come and see more of my paintings in person, they're currently hanging in Denver, and the show is all hung, and we're offering private tours at my friend's home for you to come and see those. And you can message or email me to set up a time to do that within the next 2 weeks. So I think that's everything. Did you have anything else to add, Lori?
I'm curious a little bit about you, Tiffany.
Oh, about me? Yeah.
Yes, I'm curious about you, and if you can, if you're comfortable on what led you or inspired you to paint victims or survivors of violence.
Yeah, so it kind of all started with a contest that somebody was doing for a gallery. They were offering a show to anyone who submitted submissions based off survivors, and you could do any take on that. So I started asking women to come in that were survivors of violence. Most of the women that posed for me were either rape survivors, molestation, some type of sexual violence, or domestic violence. And so that's kind of, as my thing has evolved, that's what I've really focused on. And so I didn't win that contest, but I had like, I think 20 paintings after that. So I decided that I would throw my own show, and I really wanted to fundraise money for either nonprofits that help women with education support after abuse, or safe houses. And it's just kind of grown from there. My goal is to eventually be able to do this all over the country for different safe houses. So when coronavirus isn't happening, I usually have really big events where I hang everything on the walls and we do speakers and food. This was what we're doing because of the virus, keeping us all apart.
Yes.
But yeah, and that's what I do. So every month or every 2 months, depending on where I'm at, I pick a different safe house to donate to. So for this month, and probably next month, because I'm moving and I don't have time to find another safe house for next month, it will be for Peaceworks. So
Well, thank you. So 40% of all of the sales will come back into Peaceworks, which will go into providing services for those survivors that we're serving, as well as their children and their pets.
yeah. which is amazing. I
Yes.
didn't know until the other day that they
Right.
help with pets. So
So if you
Good
do
deal.
purchase a painting, Tiffany will email a story that goes along with that painting that is anonymous, yet at the same time is telling the survivor's story, correct?
yeah, it tells the specific survivor story. So all of my paintings, actual real women, they've either posed live at my studio or they've sent me photographs of themselves if they are not local to the area. And when they do that, I have a really in-depth questionnaire that everybody fills out. They can give as much or as little information. I do ask. It's a personal thing. It used to be part of my business. I've kind of rotated. I actually write a poem that goes with every painting or most paintings based on the stories that they share with me and kind of what it's like to heal from that. Because while each survivor story is always certain things that we all have in common, and it's kind of a community. I mean, it's not always the greatest community. It's very sad sometimes. But that community is a lot of the times how we're able to heal. I myself am a rape survivor, which is obviously part of the inspiration behind all of this. And then body positivity is a huge part of my thing. It's I just feel like women don't think that they're as beautiful as they really are, and they definitely need to feel more beautiful. And so a lot of the women that I paint, the reason that they come to me is specifically isn't just to share their story. They really want to see themselves through my eyes, I guess, is how you would put that. When they're telling me their stories, a lot of these colors that I pick, I mean, it kind of sounds a little witchy, I guess, but like I visualize those stories in colors and like what it's like as they're breaking out of their shells and healing of, I call them caverns, their darkest places they've ever been. And when you break out of that, there's like sunlight hitting you, and what colors would that be? And that's how I visualize them. And that's why they're all painted in the colors that they're painted. So, other questions?
Oh, I love it. It's a healing experience, and I can imagine there's a lot of healing in sharing the beauty that you do capture and
Yes.
sharing that. So.
And then the other big thing that I do, this is a completely free service. If there are any survivors watching or want to watch later, I have a new online magazine that I'm working on. So people can submit their survivor stories or feminist topics, and they can write those in any type of freeform article, poetry, and I submit them on there. And eventually my goal is within the year to do a print magazine of that. So that's what I'm working towards. And those submissions you just submit. And you can also choose to submit them with your name or completely anonymously, because whether your name's with it or not, your story is so important. So
Right.
yeah.
Part of the healing process for sure.
Definitely part of the healing process.
I was thinking maybe in case we've had some new folks join that we could maybe go around so that they could see the
Yeah,
art
of course.
again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And please feel free to type any questions in the chat and we can answer those as we're going along as well.
So I'm just gonna grab these because they're at the camera frame. We don't want it too messy. So there's these. This one's a 16 by 20. This is a 9 by 12. It's not written on the back. I need to work on that. It's okay. They're just books. This one is a 24 by 36.
Can you hold that one up just a little bit and get the full?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Didn't realize they couldn't down. There we go.
Perfect.
Someone help me. There's that one. This is a framed art print. It's a 16 by 20. Comes just like this, ready for you to hang on the wall. So this one also, the original is available. She is 5 feet by 4 feet, and she's currently in Denver for pickup. So if you're interested in that one, definitely message me and we can talk about that. This is a square 24 by 24. There's that one. These ones are 16 by 20. Can you see this? This one down here on the floor is a 12 by 16. This one is a 24 by 36.
This one is also a 24 by 36. I don't think I need to pick it up. I'll pick this one up so you can see the whole thing. That one is 15 by 30. This one is a 12 by 36.
And what's the inspiration behind the flowers?
Yeah, so I wanted to do just kind of to add some visual interest. So I did a whole series of flowers. So this lady, when I put out a model call, she found me on Instagram and she really wanted to be a part of it because she thought that we have 8 by 10 and a 9 by 12. And then I guess I didn't show these ones earlier, but I guess I will show these. I also have these little ones. These two are 8 by 10s. They're part of the flower and floral series. And these are on a canvas board, so they just pop right into an 8 by 10 frame if you take the glass out. If you want the glass in, you have to get them custom framed. But without it, you just pop them right in. And then I also have these. These are 9 by 12 on canvas paper. So, yeah, there's those as well. So lots of art for every budget and every wall.
So Tiffany, if somebody would like to purchase art, what's the best way to go about that today and in the coming weeks?
They can email me, paintmenickel@gmail.com. They can go to my website. They can DM me on Instagram. Everything, you'll find me anywhere. Paintmenickel.com, paintmenickel@gmail.com. Paintmenickel on Instagram. Sorry, I couldn't think. My brain was not going there. On Instagram, those are the main ways that I connect with people, are through theirs. And you can just send me a message, and then once the pieces are paid for, we just set up a time for delivery or pickup, depending on the scenario.
And how many other paintings would you say that you have available?
50.
50. So a lot of other paintings for
Are
folks
that
to
50?
go.
Is that an accurate? She helped me hang the show. Kaylee, is that accurate? 50 or 50 total?
About 50. All of them vary in size and they're all really gorgeous. I have one hanging up in my living room and it's one of her bigger pieces. So I'd say that one's about...
That one's 36 by 48 inches. So I do have some really large. So that's 3 feet across for people who are not sure how big that is, by 4 feet.
Okay.
So for example, I'm 5 feet tall, if that's helpful. So this sister painting, this one that I was just talking about, it is as tall as I am, the original is, and 4 feet across. And it looks amazing on a wall. And if you want to see them in person, like if you're really interested, like I said, if you're in the Denver area, it takes about 30 minutes to get there from the Conifer area onto her house. So, and she has them hanging there on her wall. We're doing a magazine interview, and so I couldn't bring them all with me. But, and there's a lot more paintings there. And some of my newer paintings are not currently on my website, but they're within the next couple of days. So that definitely is something to bring up. That are here, you will not. If you see them, you can just message me about them. And on my Instagram, all of my new work, you can see it there. And send me messages about that. So, I'm trying to think. So the 36 by 48 and I always say, it's 4 foot by, I say them in inches. I'm sorry, that's the way they're done. But those ones are definitely the biggest ones. And then I have about 4 this size. This is 30 by 40. And then I have my most famous painting that I did not bring. She is available. She's Defiance Girl. She has really bright green hair. She is 4 feet by 2.5 feet. So she is a very large painting. And she is definitely available for purchase for anyone who wants to grab her. I post a lot about her. So she was one of the first models that I ever painted, and she's a mom, a survivor. She's also a Black woman who was gang raped when she was in her early teens. So, pretty amazing woman. And the painting is supposed to stand for kind of what all of my paintings stand for. She's actually kind of the whole pivotal thing of this is that
you can be exactly who you want to be no matter what's happened to you in your life. And no matter what society thinks you should or shouldn't be. That's kind of the whole, I guess, the big overall statement of my work. So there you go. Did anyone have any questions in the comments, Kaylee? I know that you're kind of manning it.
Just to purchase.
Okay.
Yeah, so I linked her website down in the comments, and when you go in there, there's multiple ways to support Tiffany's mission, as well as becoming a member, and that is through her Patreon for monthly subscribers, where you're going to get behind the scenes as well as
model interviews. I do some interviews with the nonprofits I work with. Depending on which tiers you pick, there's several. So they're from $5 a month all the way up to $40. You get, if you pick some of the higher tiers, I actually have a bachelor's degree in English. I am a published poet, and so I actually offer writing classes, and I also do a Zoom art class on how to draw basic figures once a month for the people in those tiers. So there's lots of really exciting things with that. And if you see anything here tonight that you want to purchase, definitely I would recommend sending me a message tonight, because everything here is slightly discounted compared to what's listed on my website. When I do in-person events, they're a little cheaper, shipping and moving and all of those things that go with that. So, yeah.
I'm wondering, Tiffany, if you can talk a little bit about, and if you're still interested in doing it, because I know that you're moving.
Yeah.
If
the painting event.
If somebody wanted to be painted as an individual, and then
of course.
Other.
So we were going to do this on August 15th. We have postponed it due to coronavirus. We want to give it a little time. So probably sometime later this fall. And if you get on my email list, which you can subscribe on my website, there will be lots of information about this. I paint live bodies, like the actual women. So I've done this at one of my events, and we are going to make a calendar where there will be 12 women, one to represent each month, and you will be painted and to look like your inner goddess. And we actually have a questionnaire about how you would define what color she would be, what traits she would personify, and all of those things. And I definitely, the best way to find out about that event in my email list. So I send out an email usually once a week, sometimes every 2 weeks. I get a little busy, but I do try to send them out several times a month. And you just go to my website. There are lots of places to sign up on it. So that would be the most, to get that information. Yeah.
So then if a survivor wants to reach out, and
they have model questionnaires on my website. Everything is there.
Right.
You just go straight, it's on my homepage and every other page. Down in is that in the footer, Haley? Yeah, down in the footer. So become a model. You can also share your story, that's there. Sign up for my email list, become a Patreon like we were just talking about. So yeah.
So I'm curious, do you get feedback from those that you have painted on the therapeutic experience, the healing
Oh yes,
experience?
of course, absolutely. Posing nude, there is nothing like posing nude, not just for an artist, but like for anybody. It's one of the most, for most women that I at least obviously encounter, it's one of the most empowering things you can do. You have to become super vulnerable. You don't get to hide. You're just exactly where you are and who you are in the space that you're in. And while it is nerve-wracking for a lot of women, it's also really empowering, because they just get to be exactly who they are right then. And they can't, like a lot of us, we dress certain ways and we wear certain clothes because our bodies don't look good or whatever it is. It goes with the whole empowerment thing. And it's a way to take your power back of just saying, this is who I am, this is what I look like, this is how I feel in this moment. And that's kind of, yes, lots of those. Lots and lots of messages about what it's like to be painted. It's a really cool experience. I have never posed for a live painting. I have posed for photographers though, so that I could connect more with the women I paint.
Well, that's a great service that you're offering, so thank you.
Yeah.
Helping survivors heal.
Oh, and then I guess the other big important thing, since we are talking about this, I do commission pieces besides these. So if you ever wanted to have a commission piece that you don't want to like be in one of my shows, I can paint you. So, and we do those via photograph or in person, depending on where you are. Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
No other questions for right now.
Okay. I don't know what else to say or do.
I'm going to try to get up and very slowly look at everything.
Okay.
It's hard to stay really still, though.
It is really, really hard.
So we're going to do one quick walk through the gallery, and then thank you all for joining again. If you want to purchase one of these paintings, go ahead and email Tiffany tonight. You can find her email and contact information on her website link that is in the chat.
Okay. So that is, oh, you want me to hold these ones? I can hold them while I say goodbye. So these are the last two that were not in the video. So that's everything that we have for you tonight. And if you're wanting to purchase a piece, like Kaylee said and everyone else said multiple times, just send us a DM. You can, on the Facebook page, email, however you want to contact me. I'm pretty good at getting back to my messages. And if you're in the Conifer area and watching and you want to purchase a piece that's here, I need to know within like the next hour so that I can leave it for you to come pick up at the office, or so that you can, I don't know how you guys want to set that up, but if that's what you're wanting, I would love to leave it here. I am in the Colorado Springs, so this is kind of a trek. So I'd like to leave the pieces if anyone wants them here tonight. So, yeah.
So thank you. 40% of the sales will go to Peaceworks to support the work that we're doing here in the community, in the mountain communities with survivors. So we appreciate you tuning in tonight, supporting the organization, supporting Tiffany and the amazing work that she's doing. So I'd encourage you to sign up for her newsletter and keep tabs on the work that she's doing. Lots of links. And want to thank Sabrina for sharing her story with us tonight as well. It's always an inspiration to hear, and the strength and the courage that comes from survivors. They're some of the strongest people that we will come across. So thank you, ladies, for your time tonight.